Look at verse 25 again of Numbers 13. The spies, we'll find out, certainly didn't have that many. Verse 25, when they returned from spying out the land at the end of 40 days, they proceeded to come to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation of the sons of Israel in the wilderness of Paran and Kadesh. And they brought back word to them, and they brought to the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. 40 days. Guys, that's a long time. That's over a month they were scouting out the land because it was a big land. They had a lot to see. There was a lot of goodness of the land. It took them 40 days. But what's even, I think, more important to remember or to think about is you have the Israelites who are waiting behind, and they just sent their 12 best men out. And they're probably thinking, all right, we'll be back in a week. A week passes. 2 weeks pass. 3 weeks pass. 4 weeks pass. 5 weeks pass, and they still have not returned. If I was in Israel, I'd be saying, oh man, we're supposed to go into this land, and they still haven't returned. They're dead. And so fear and apprehension and anxiety start to build up among the Israelites. And they start to wonder if the spies that they sent out even survived. And so after the 40th day, finally the spies come back. And they're bringing the fruit, and they tell them, verse 27, thus they told them and said, we went into the land where you had sent us, and guess what? It really does certainly flow with milk and honey. And this, hey, look, here's the fruit. And so they're confirming, guess what? What God said long time ago that I'm going to send you into the land flowing with milk and honey, it's true. Now, they're not being literal, by the way. This is not Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. There's not a milk river. You can just take a bowl and have some cereal, or trees made out of honey. This is a Hebrew expression. It's an idiom. They're saying that this land is plentiful. It is blessed. It is bountiful with the blessings of God. But, verse 28, but, nevertheless, is what they're saying, the people who live in the land are strong. The cities are too well fortified. They're too large. And moreover, we saw all these people dwelling in every part of the land. The descendants of Anak were there. The Amalekites were living in the Negev. The Hittites, the Jebusites, the Amorites, they're all living in the hill country. And the Canaanites, they're living by the sea and by the Jordan. So already they said, yes, God has given us a blessing if we just go by faith. But, I don't know, there's too much. There's too many obstacles. We just shouldn't do it. And so they start making excuses. And this really is nothing new to them. I mean, Moses was probably hearing this, and he's thinking, oh man, I seem to remember someone making excuses. Oh yeah, that was me. If you look at Exodus 3 and 4, Moses is tending his sheep, right? And one of his sheep travels off, and he goes to look for the sheep. And as he goes to look for the sheep, he sees what? Burning bush. And this isn't just a bush that someone set on fire because they were trying to prank him. But this is a bush that looks like it's lit on fire, but it's not consuming the bush. And as if that wasn't enough, then he hears a voice that comes out of the bush and says, I am the God of your fathers, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Take off your shoes. Take off your sandals, for the place you are standing is holy ground. And Moses falls on his face and takes off his sandals, prostrate before the Lord, humbly bowing before him in fear and humble trembling. And God says, Moses, I want you to go to my people in Israel. I want you to set them free, to lead them out of Egypt. And Moses is there and he said, what? Hold on, back to talk about it. What did you just say? Me? Are you serious? No. I think you got the wrong guy. Who am I that you're going to send me? And God said, I will be with you. In other words, it doesn't matter who you are. I know who I am. I could be sending anyone. I'm sending you because I will be with you. That's all you need to know. So then Moses makes up another excuse. He says, yeah, but Lord, I don't even know your name. I mean, what should I call you? I don't even know your name. He says, I am who I am. In other words, I'm not limited by human diction. I'm not bound by words. I'm not expressed in a name. I just am. So go. And Moses, he kind of hangs back and says, yeah, but God, that sounds great, but what if they don't believe me? I mean, if I go to them and say, hey, God told me to do this, and I say, okay, Moses. I mean, they're not going to believe me. What should I do? God says, all right, see that staff in your hand? Take that staff, throw it on the ground. boom, it's a snake. Take your hand. See your hand? Put it in your robe. Take it out. Oh, hey, it's leprous. Take your hand, put it back in your robe. Oh, hey, it's healthy again. Take that pot of water, throw it on the ground. Boom, it's blood. If they don't believe the first sign, they'll believe the second sign. If they don't believe the second sign, they definitely will believe the third sign. Moses is now kind of running out of excuses, and he says, God, I'm not eloquent. I'm slow of speech and slow of tongue. I can't talk. And God says, who made the mouth? Who made the tongue? Who makes those mute and deaf? Is not I the Lord? I will be with your mouth, and I will give you exactly what you are to say. Now, Moses, without any excuses, says, Lord, oh God, just please send someone else. And God says, fine, I'm going to send your brother Aaron. He will be your mouthpiece. He will go with you. Can you imagine if Moses just immediately said, yes, Lord, I will do what you say. Not your will, not my will, but your will. Lord, here I am, send me. The sad thing is, folks, we do this all the time. I do this all the time. Oh, Lord, I know I'm supposed to witness to so-and-so, but yada, 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 fill in the blank. God can do all things. You guys remember the hymn? Anyone know the hymn? Nothing is too difficult for thee. Okay, we got a couple. That's good. It's a great hymn. It says this, nothing is too difficult for thee. Nothing is too difficult for thee. Great and mighty God, great in power and mighty indeed. Nothing, absolutely nothing is too difficult for thee. In Luke 18:27, Jesus says, the things that are impossible with people, they're possible with God. In Mark 9, this man comes up and he says to Jesus, my son is demon-possessed. If you can do anything, would you please help him? And Jesus says, if I can? Do you know who I am? I'm the Son of God. If I can, he says this, if all things are possible to those who believe. In Mark 14:36, Jesus is praying, right before he's about to be crucified, he says, Abba, Daddy, Father, all things are possible for you. Remove this cup from me, not yet that I will, but what your will be done. Philippians 4:13, one of my favorite verses. Paul says, I can do all things through what? Christ, who gives me strength. Man, if the spies just had a faith like that, if the people of Israel had a faith like that, it would be a completely different story. But look at verse 30. Here we see, finally, someone steps up with that kind of faith. Finally, someone steps forward. We read about Caleb, and it says, then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, we should by all means go up now. We should go up immediately and take possession of it, for we will surely overcome it. We are well able to overcome it. I love Caleb. I mean, you talk about a man's man. One of my favorite movies is Braveheart, and I watch that and I see William Wallace, and the armies of Scotland are about to flee, and here comes William Wallace and his boys on his side, and he's riding in on a steed, and he's all painted up, and he comes with ferocity, and he delivers this inspiring speech, and they win the battle, and they defeat their enemies. And I'm watching this, and there's probably not a man in here who doesn't agree with this. I'm watching this and go, I want to be William Wallace. Oh, that's what I want to be. And I read this, and I look at Caleb, and I said, yes, God, that's who I want to be. I want to be like that, someone who understands your power, someone who has true faith, someone who's not afraid, someone who doesn't cower, who's not afraid to go up. That's who I want to be. If you read Joshua 14, later on, 45 years later, in fact, now Caleb's 85 years old, yet he still has the vitality and strength of when he was 40. And he goes up to Joshua and says, listen, let me go up into Hebron and conquer the city. I can do it because God is with me. You talk about a man's man. But look what he says in chapter 13, verse 30 right here. We will by all means immediately go up and take possession of it. Why? Because we are surely able to overcome. Now, are they well able to overcome the land because they're a mighty people? Because they're a strong people? Because they have military prowess? Because their strategies are good? Because they're mighty in number? Because they have good fighting styles? I mean, I don't know. Why are they able to go up? It's simply this. God is backing them up. And when you have God in your corner, who is going to stand against you? But the other spies kind of show their lack of faith. Look at verse 31. And the men who had gone up with him said, No. We are not able to go up against these people, for they are too strong for us. Let me ask you a question. Are they lying? Go ahead. Go no or yes. What do you guys think? Are they lying? No. I would agree. I don't think they're lying here. Let me tell you why. If they were to go up against those people, they definitely are. Their enemies were stronger than them. They get whooped. I mean, they are not able to take the land. The people are much stronger than them. If they go by their own strength. But what they're forgetting is God is backing them up. God is behind them. So, as we continue in verse 32, we see, now they start to lie and exaggerate. It says, so they gave out to the sons of Israel a bad report of the land, which they had spied out. And when it says bad, it doesn't mean negative or depressing report. They're already doing that. It means literally a false report. They're about to lie to them in order to press fear and anxiety in the people. And they say this, listen, the land through which we have gone to spy out is a land that devours its inhabitants. Wait a minute. You just said that it was a land that is truly flowing with milk and honey. Now you're saying that it's going to devour its inhabitants? Look what they say, the second thing. All the people who we saw are men of great size. Whoa, okay, hold on. Earlier you said that there were a few people who were giants. There were some people in the land that were giants. Now you're saying they're all giants? They're all men of great size, great height? Something's not right here. Verse 33. And there also we saw the Nephilim, and we became like grasshoppers in our own sight, so we must have been in their sight. You see what they just did there? They said, and we went up against our enemies, and we felt like grasshoppers in our eyes to them, and so we must have been in their eyes like grasshoppers. They made faith, or I guess I should say their lack of faith, all about perception. They perceived that they couldn't possibly conquer these people because they seemed like grasshoppers to them. Folks, if you remember one thing about this sermon, I want to tell you this. Listen, faith is all about perspective. It's all about your perception. 2 Corinthians 4:16-18 says, Therefore we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen, that is eternal. A faith based on the proper perspective says, look, I know what I'm seeing, but this all is temporary. I'm going to walk by faith and not by sight. I'm going to choose to focus on the things I can't see, on the eternal things. A faith based on the proper perspective is about realizing how insignificant we are without God, and how humble we are in light of who He is and who we are in Him. One of my favorite definitions of humility is this. It's knowing who you are in light of who God is. See, there's a difference between humility and cowardice. A coward will see the insurmountable odds ahead of him, and he'll tremble at his inability to overcome them. But a humble man will see the insurmountable odds ahead of him and tremble at the presence of the Lord, knowing that He is able to overcome anything.